Live better and longer with the Fitzness Show, hosted by fitness expert, author, and TV personality Fitz Kohler. She'll tell you why diets are dumb, supplements are snake oil, and the truth about how you can earn a lean, hard, pain-free, and athletic body. Now for our favorite bossy blonde, Fitz Kohler.
Well, hi, team. I'm Fitz Kohler, your outrageously bossy fitness pro from fitzness.com. And welcome to the Fitzness Show. I am so excited about this episode. Can't wait to tell you about my guest. But before I do that, if you haven't done so already, click subscribe wherever you listen to the Fitzness Show. Because if you do that, anytime I come on, I make happy noise and I boss you around, you will get notification to tune in as well. If you haven't done so yet, pay attention. My new book, You Supercharged. The exact formula for fitness, weight loss, and longevity is out. It is 400 plus pages, 300 plus photos, and bazillions of golden nuggets to change your life. So hurry up, get it. Okay, now for the good stuff. I was introduced to my guest, Danni Duncan, from a mutual friend, Dawn Masalem. Dr. Dawn Masalem is one of my very best friends. And she told me, she goes, you know what? You have a doppelganger in Australia, and I think you guys would hit it off very well. And so I started stalking her on Instagram, and I thought, yes, because you know what? I hear a bunch of fitness folks who I very much disagree with. They're selling diets, they're selling pills. They've sold out, and they're wishy-washy and weird, and mind my opinions, but you know I don't hold back. And then this chick was just cool and smart, and she did a little bit of cursing, and she was intolerant of stupidity. And I thought, we're destined. We're destined to be besties. So she's an Aussie girl. She is a fitness pro. She's a cancer crusher like me, but different. She's a super mom, and I already love her. Let's welcome Danni Duncan. Hi, Danni.
Hi, what an introduction. Thanks.
Did I get it right?
Got it perfect.
Okay, so tell everybody about you. Tell us what I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, you said three things then. I'm a mom of four. I've got a 7-year-old, 4-year-old twins, and then a 1-year-old. I'm a fitness and nutrition coach. I have my own podcast. I got bowel cancer last year at 39, completely out of the blue, 7 months postpartum. What else? I mean, I've had like a very colorful life. I feel like I've lived 100 lives. I've been married before, divorced. I've had 4 miscarriages. I had one on an aeroplane from Manchester to Singapore. So that's a little bit of fun fact for you. Not really fun at the time. Yeah, very colorful. I've lived in lots of different cities. I've lived in London. I met my husband on Tinder. That's a little fun fact.
Wow. Okay.
And I've always not always. So over the last 10 years, I've really changed my lifestyle. I've really been on this journey to, improve my health and fitness and longevity and come from a place, I used to be in a really dark place around my weight, an ex-ballet dancer. So lots of eating disorder type history in me. So I really spent the last 10 years, re-healing and building that. And so my message has always been like eat for health and longevity and wellness and happiness and joy and all that. And then when I got cancer, it was like, oh, my message is now clear. I got to keep going on this path. This is my mission in life, is to help educate people and just sort of, like you said, scrape people of their bullshit. Like, stop making excuses. Stop, we really bubble wrap people these days as well. And that doesn't get you anywhere. So my saying is, you can do hard things. You got to actually do hard things to make change. So, yeah.
So that's so funny because everything you said, I had an eating disorder as a teenager. I had cancer out of the blue. My book, My Noisy Cancer Comeback, it was the mantra I started early on is I can do hard things. I was thrown into a hard thing and I had to convince myself to get through it. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
Cut from the same cloth. How long have you been teaching fitness?
So I did my training during COVID, actually. So in 2021, when I was 4 months postpartum with Harper, I did my nutrition study. And then from there, I did my fitness study. So yeah, just a little over 5 years. I was obviously a dancer prior, so had all that that kind of background, but would just go to the gym. I suppose I'm like one of my old clients in my head, right? Like I'd go to the gym, I'd work out for hours at a time because I wanted to get skinny and I wanted to look, but I didn't know how to fuel. I didn't know what I was doing, so I really wanted to educate myself in that space so I could educate others to educate, I suppose, former me, right? Like help for me.
Yeah. What's interesting is I started teaching fitness at 14 And it was in college. And I think I picked up my eating disorder at about 15, 16. I was a bulimic. Hooray. And I was able to nip that in the bud about 19. But in college, I was teaching. That's crazy. I mean, I was in full blown bulimia chaos. And I joined this group it was called Students' Attitudes and Values About Eating. And so I went around campus making presentations to teach other people about eating disorders. Nobody knew that
Wow.
it was me, but you know what? Sometimes you say things enough, you start to believe them. And those messages certainly resonated with me and helped me through my rough patch.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Like, I don't know about you, but that little person that sticks in the back, she stays there, and she
Yeah.
rears her head every now and then when my self-worth is feeling attacked or I'm at a down moment, or like, even when I've got my period, and I feel bloated and gross and, that she comes up, and I really, at least now I have the tools to go, no, you're strong, you're fit, you're nourished, like all those things. And that's what I love to teach as well, because I feel like our generation has a lot of that trauma from our teens and 20s, So, yeah, love that I have those tools now.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. It's that voice in your head to talk yourself up instead of put yourself down. It's incredible how many people they dog themselves all
Mm.
the time. And because of that, I can't. And oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what do you do with your excuse makers?
Oh my God, I just tell them, like, I literally say to them, and, sometimes I have to preface it with, "You're not gonna like what I'm about to hear, but
Right.
yeah, that's just an excuse." And I always say, like, I am the world's biggest solutions finder. So if you come to me with a problem, I'm not gonna be that toxic empath that helps you believe that lie you're telling yourself. I'm gonna actually find a solution. So, you can sit there and tell me that you don't have time, the kids wake up early, and that, I don't know, your husband's FIFO worker and he's never home, and, like, that you can't, like, prep food, but I will find a solution to your problem. Like, I will find a solution. So if you're not ready to hear it, a solution, if you're sitting in that victim mentality where you're like,
Yeah.
"Poor me," blaming others, externalizing, negative self-talk, then you're gonna have to turn that around pretty quick with me. Otherwise.
Yeah. It makes my skin crawl. I mean,
Mm,
golly.
mm.
Stop. Just stop with the excuses. It's interesting how many people say, well, I can't lose weight because I sprained my ankle. And I think your weight has almost nothing to do with your ankle. It's about what you do or don't put in your mouth. Shut up.
Totally. And you know what? I think you totally feel this as well. I mean, I was like this before I got cancer. But then I got cancer, and I even remember so many of my followers being like, "Fuck, Danni, like, now you're gonna show everyone, like, what you do during cancer, and now no one's gonna ever have any excuse ever again." And I was like, "Yes, Oz," They're like, so I woke up at 5 o'clock every day during cancer to train, and, like, try and just tell people sometimes that was just like a walk, right? Like a 10-minute
Yeah.
walk, or just like 3 bodyweight squats, like something.
Yeah.
But I did
Something.
it. Something. And, people still come into my DMs or come into my posts and be like, "But not everyone's the same. Like, I physically couldn't move during chemo." And I go, "Well, you probably could, but you just didn't." And I know that sounds really harsh to a cancer patient as well, but,
Right.
like, sometimes I couldn't, but I just did, you know? So I think as well, like, once you've had cancer, my tolerance for people now is pretty low, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Rightfully so. I mean, we're on the same exact page, but I don't I don't care if people are mad at me. And usually those people that think I'm an asshole right from the get-go, they come back and say, "Thank you for your brutal honesty." But it doesn't benefit anyone for you or I to blow sunshine and coddle
Mm,
people who are just effing up their life. Like you get one,
yeah.
period. And nothing clarifies how valuable your health is when someone looks at you and says, you have cancer or
Mm.
Parkinson's or ALS. Because once that happens, all you want is your health. You don't care about any of the things or any of the places. All you want is your health. So get on it now, right?
Yeah. Like that saying, again, I started saying, it's actually weird the things I was saying before cancer, then I got cancer and it just became so much more, free. I say, when you've got your health, you have a million problems, when you don't have your health, you have one problem and that becomes your prime focus. So look after it. Like you want those million problems. But at the same time, I feel like post cancer, when you had like recovered, those little problems, they just seem so insignificant now. And like, I have this little saying now that I go, if no one dies, we're good.
We're
We're
good.
good.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
We are relocating at the moment from Melbourne up to the Gold Coast, and we moving day. We were not ready. Like the truck arrived at 7 a.m. We had boxes everywhere. We had my kids in the house. We had a friend. We had 7 kids in the house. We were not ready. And these removalists were brutal. They came in and they were just taking shit out of my house. And I was like, oh my God, like slow down. And my husband started getting a bit stressed. I literally turned around. I was like, but if no one dies today, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not cancer. So fine.
We're good. Like it's moving. If we happen to lose some shit, we lose some shit, like whatever.
It's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough. Okay. So we're going to bounce around a bit. But when you had cancer, so I remember sitting in this seat in my office while I was going through treatment and all the things that are important to me, like the history of my business and this or that. And I thought, the second I die, all of this stuff becomes garbage. Like instantly, things that are meaningful, there is no value to them on earth at all. Have you gone through like those thought processes between your treatment and now, or your diagnosis and now?
I do actually talk about this a lot about how like you are replaceable everywhere except home. And as soon as you die, depending if you work for someone else or you work for yourself, you'll be replaced. Like they'll mourn you for a day and then they'll have to get someone new in. Your business will just cease to exist, right? Like it literally means nothing. But what will be left would be your kids' memories, your husband. They're the ones that are going to be affected most, and your legacy. Like, how do you want people to remember you by? And if you spend all your time focused on work and stressed and being out of worrying about these things, like a Harper's school teacher actually last year had this really cool thing. I used to love it. He said, there's ant problems and elephant problems. And if you spend your life worrying about these ant problems all the time and focusing on things you can't control and worrying about what other people think of you and all these other things, you're wasting your life. And it actually is insignificant. And so, I always sit there and I think since having cancer, I've really tried to hone in on surrounding myself with people that I love, that make me feel good, and really holding my boundaries. Like my kids come first, my kids and my husband come first. I'm not going to meet you for coffee if you're going to drain my energy and taking away time from my kids and my husband, or even my me time, like my fitness time, my prep time. I'm more than happy to say to someone, sorry, I can't meet you because I've got a prep dinner. Like I that's important for me. You want to meet me at 9:00 on a Sunday. I'm sorry, but that's when I'm at the market. So that's just not going to happen, So yeah, I have really tried to also talk about this a lot. And also, I suppose, protect those boundaries of what's important is right now, how you live right now. Like the rest of the shit, it doesn't really matter,
Right.
It doesn't matter. It's just stuff. It's just work. You'll find another person at the end of the day. If you're dead, what does it matter?
We're all replaceable except at home.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So tell me, what are your favorite kind of workouts for you to do personally?
Oh my God. Well, I love running.
Okay.
For a couple of reasons. I don't have to talk to anybody.
Okay.
I don't have to hear mum all the time. So I love running. It makes me free. It gives me a goal in mind. But I love strength training. I love feeling strong. I love lifting stuff. I love But I do a lot of home workouts with 4 kids and I'm going through. Melbourne was the most lockdown city in the world. I'm not sure if you know that, during lockdown.
Too. And I remember thinking, this can't be true because I've always considered Australia so very much like America, which is partially ignorant, I think. And then America didn't look like America. It was like, what's going on here? This is not the land of the free and the home of the brave right now. But then I saw you guys were kind of worse than China-ish. What was going on there? So anyways, go on. Yes, you were locked.
Like we couldn't go more than 5Ks. We couldn't go out for more than an hour. Like it was so bad. So I was doing a lot of home workouts because, and I still do them now because people don't realize you can actually get a really good workout from home. Like, grab a set of dumbbells, there's so much you can do from home. You don't have to leave your house. You don't have to spend time going to the gym. So especially for mums that I know that are really super busy and can't leave the house for a reason, they're great. Sometimes the kids are there. That's fine. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I love that. But I love a bit of strength training. But Chris and I actually have just completed High Rocks last month together. Do you know what that is?
I don't.
So High Rocks is like a functional competition type thing mixed with running. So it's 8 stations, and in between each station you've got a kilometer run, and you can do it as a couple or you can do it as a single. So it's all around the world. And it was just as soon as I got diagnosed with cancer and we knew that it was coming to Melbourne in December, I said to Chris, we're going to do this. He's like, you'll be 3 months post chemo. I was like, I don't care. We're going to do this. So 1 kilometer run, then 1 kilometer, then 1 kilometer on the ski erg, 1 kilometer run, sled push, 1 kilometer run, sled pull, like, there's all this
Yeah.
rower, what's it called? Farmer's carries, wall balls, walking lunges, sled push, sled pull, ski erg, rower. So 8 of them. And yeah, we
Oh, and
smashed
how'd
it.
it go?
Yeah, we did an hour and 10 minutes. We were aiming for an hour and 15. We did an hour and 10. It was great because my husband also had actually some of his lung removed and a lung tumor the year before last. So it was a year, literally exactly a year post his lung surgery. So, yeah.
Wow. Well, okay. So let's jump backwards. You get diagnosed with bowel cancer. And
Mm.
when you say bowels, like, is that our colon cancer or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
upper colon. Yeah.
Okay. So tell us about that. Your diagnosis, your treatment, everything.
Yeah. So I had my 4th baby in September 2024. During that pregnancy, I had really low iron, really low, and I had an iron infusion and my numbers went straight back up. But then he's like, within 2 weeks, I had tests again. They were straight back down. I went for a 20-kilometer run, 12 weeks postpartum, and felt pretty good. And then started training for a marathon. And I would have been doing that marathon at 4 months postpartum. During that training, I got really fatigued. Like I called Chris on one of my 25-kilometer training runs and I said, babe, I just feel really abnormally tired and weird and I don't feel good. Like, this is not me. Like, I fueled well. I've had a good sleep, but I was putting it down to feeding a baby at night, having 4 kids, us mums just do that. And then I didn't actually finish the marathon. I got to 30 kilometers and I actually physically couldn't keep going. And again, I put it down to that. I started getting some pretty bad bloating as well. And then people were trying to tell me it was perimenopause, that I had 4 babies and my body's never going to go back to how it was. So I kind of sort of believed it. Then I started getting tired. And at the same time, Chris was getting tired. We were both really tired. His iron came back low. So he went and got tested. He got diagnosed with celiac disease in April. Then I was like literally almost passing out at making kids breakfast for a few weeks. Like, I was really dizzy and I almost passed out one day. Basically, I went to make breakfast and I said, I'm gonna about pass out. I went and sat on the couch. He goes, you have to go to the doctor now. So I went to the doctor, came back.
Pause a second. You're having all of these symptoms. They're pretty traumatic. You're being restrained. How come you're not going to the doctor?
I think this is where, and I have said this before, I push through, and I think there has to be a point where you have to realize that pushing through isn't always the best thing to do. You have to listen to your body, And in my head, I was just had low iron. Like, that was, it. Like, I was really struggling to finish sets at the gym. Like, I'd get like 5 reps in and be like, oh my God, I just physically can't go, do anymore. But I literally was putting it down to waiting to feed a baby, like have 4 kids, and it wasn't until that day I was like, yeah, okay, like my iron is probably low, like really low, like I need to go sort it out. But I suppose as well, like bloating, again, you can tell yourself things, right? You can make yourself believe shit. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm perimenopausal. I'm 39,
Right.
Yeah, and like good, I think that's where pushing through sometimes isn't the best thing to do. And I think us like type A personalities really, strong-willed people can push through maybe sometimes when we should just take that step back sometimes.
Do you regret? Do you look back and say, yeah, it would have been totally rational for me to go to the doctor? I wish I had.
When I started getting dizzy, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
The finishing the marathon, I think in my head was probably like lack of sleep. I could have put it down to. But when I started getting dizzy and not being able to train at the gym, yeah. But it would only have been like 4 weeks earlier, maybe, it wouldn't have been horrendously earlier. But yeah, I went and got my bloods done and I went back to the doctor to get my results and she was like, how are you feeling? And I was like, look, I'm not feeling great, but like I went to the gym this morning. I had my tennis lesson, she's like, well, you're not allowed to do anything now. She goes, you're not allowed to even go for a walk. She goes, your hemoglobin is 70, your iron is 1. You're so anemic. You should be bleeding out in front of me. You're not. So we need to find out where this bleeding is coming from. And cancer was never mentioned. Like I was like, oh, I'm a celiac like Chris. That's what's going to happen, So I literally had an urgent iron infusion the next day and my colonoscopy was booked for the next week. And yeah, I had this colonoscopy. I'm sitting in the chair and the nurse comes over and goes, where's your husband? And I said, oh, he's just on his way with the kids to come and get me. He was like, oh, okay. He's like, the doctor just wants to see you by yourself in a room. And I was like, that doesn't sound good. I was like, I messaged Chris and I was like, did you have to go into a room to get your results? And all he wrote was like, I'm on my way. And I was like, what? And he said, he's like, I knew something was bad. But I in that moment, I'm a smart girl, Fitz, but like I was like, what? I don't understand. Like, what's the worst that can be? And so I get into the room and he goes, I'm so sorry, but I found a 3-centimeter tumor in your bowel, your colon, your large colon. It's bowel cancer. I was like, what? Like, how? Like, this doesn't make any sense. So yeah.
And so what was your instant response upon diagnosis?
My first thing I said was, this can't be real. I'm supposed to live to 100. Yeah, because that's I was like, what are you talking about? I cried for a second because I thought my little London girl who was 7 months old is not going to know me. I was like, she's not going to know more. And then I cried for a second, and then like a freaking switch flicking, I literally turned around and went, right, what are we doing? What do we do? Like, what's the plan? Get this fucker out of me. And what's the plan? Like, this is not happening. And I went into I remember Chris arriving and he was so emotional. I was just like, nah, like, this is not happening. We're sorting this out.
I love it. I love it. So, I mean, what a stressful moment. I remember definitely thinking like, I thought I'm the perfect, example of fitness and, the perfect family and the perfect career. And I'm definitely going to make the perfect tale of tragedy. I'm a goner. It's like, I am dying and dying quickly. Yet. So it took a little while to figure out that thankfully I wasn't going to do that. But I'm glad your instincts were much more quickly productive than mine. And we will be right back.
Are you looking for the perfect gift for a loved one battling cancer? The Cancer Comeback Series by Fitz Kohler offers hope, inspiration, and practical guidance. With Your Healthy Cancer Comeback, My Noisy Cancer Comeback, and The Healthy Cancer Comeback Journal. These books are a lifeline for all patients and survivors. Right now, you can order autographed copies at a special discount. Show your support and help a loved one go from sick to strong. Visit fitzness.com today. That's FITZNESS.com. Fitzness.com.
We're back. What was your treatment plan? How did they fix you?
Well, they said, so he showed me literally had a diagram of a colon and he was like, this is where your tumor is. It was at the top of my large colon. Right at the top, he's like, so the great news is you're probably not going to need a stoma bag because if it's down further towards your rectum, you need it. And I was like, so I was like looking for the positives. I'm like, okay, that's a positive. Awesome. He's like, but we're going to remove all, like basically, 30 to 40 centimeters of your colon. And I was like, when are we getting rid? Like when? Like tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like, get this out of me. He's like, I'll get the specialist to call you on Monday. I was like, if he can call me on the way home, that would be awesome.
Right. Let's go.
And he's like, and then we have to look at staging. He's like, we have to wait and see your staging before we can decide what's next. So I saw the surgeon. He actually did call me on the way home. I had the appointment. So it was the Thursday. He called me on the way home. I had the appointment for Monday, the surgeon. He booked me in for the following Wednesday for surgery. Robotic surgery, which is real. So everything was so quick. And he told me at that time, it was like, if it's stage 2, you won't need chemotherapy. Stage 3 and above, which means it's into like your lymph nodes or, other organs, then you will need chemotherapy. So he took it out. He said it was through the bowel wall. So it was T3, which means it was through the bowel wall. It hadn't entered any lymph nodes, but it had entered the blood vessels and classified as stage 2B, which meant I did need chemotherapy.
That's exactly what my staging was, 2B.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Wild. Yeah.
Go on.
So, which was annoying because when he first said stage 2, I was like, okay, no chemotherapy. And because I was breastfeeding my daughter, basically chemo I would need to stop feeding her. Yeah. So I was really happy. And then it went to the board and they decided chemotherapy. So then I had to, unfortunately, stop feeding my little girl, which was actually, to be honest, it's the hardest part of this whole thing, was stopping feeding her. Still emotional for me now. I'm trying to relatch her now. But for me, it was like something like, I'm very headstrong. I'm very, I don't like people telling me what I can and cannot do. And I just had this, I never was able to feed my other babies for very long. And so with London, we were having such a beautiful journey. And I had this image that I would be feeding her until 1 and beyond. Like, I was like, I don't even care if I'm that mom that I used to like say that was silly. Like, if she's 2 and feeding, that's fine. And so for it to be taken away from us, she was such a booby monster as well. And my last baby was quite devastating for me. Yeah. So I had to have the Zolodex. Do you have to have Zolodex?
Did you have to have that?
Yeah. So basically, because I was only 39, it's to put your ovaries to sleep, to protect your ovaries from going into menopause.
Okay.
So it's a massive implant they put in your belly. And it basically plunges you into medical menopause for the time of chemotherapy to protect your ovaries. So the chemotherapy doesn't destroy ovaries, yeah. So that also, this is actually, you'll love this as well, actually. So they had this story. I'm like, I know I'm jumping around, but
No, I love it.
they he said to me, you're going to have this Zoladex injection. It's going to plunge you into menopause. So you're probably going to have menopause symptoms on top of your chemotherapy side effects, right? So you're going to have hot flushes. You're going to have a dry vagina. Like, you're going to have all this stuff. And I was like, wonderful.
Yay. Right.
Can't wait. Anyway, so I have this injection and then I start chemotherapy. And I completely actually had forgotten that I'd had this Zoladex injection. And my doctor calls me 4 weeks later and she's like, how are you doing? Like, how's your sweats? How's your vagina? Like, do you need some HRT? Do you need some hormone replacement therapy? Like, and I just was like, oh, I haven't had any of those symptoms. Like, no night sweats, no sweats at all. We only can have sex 1 out of my 3 of chemotherapy because it's too toxic and I've been fine. So like,
Right.
no,
Yay.
and yeah, it's like, again, positive. And she was like, really weird. She's like, you should be in full blown menopause. She goes, it's because you're so fit. She goes, it's because you're exercising every day. She goes, wow. She goes, I've never seen this before. She's like, you literally should be, you know, and she goes, it's because you're fit. And she goes, keep strength training, keep exercising, because that is keeping you from having these, menopausal symptoms. So, yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. I had quite a few moments during my treatment where my oncologist would remind me that the reason I was able to do things was because of my fitness. He was, he'd
Yeah.
say, you're doing so great. And I'd be like, I'm a catastrophe. What are you saying? I'm not doing great. He's like, oh my God, if you were not so committed to fitness and nutrition, you would be way worse. You would have been hospitalized. You would have had a feeding tube. Your fitness is really kicking in here. So yeah. Well, good for you. That's, role modeling. I know you were doing it for yourself, but everybody else gets to watch me and know that it's possible. Now, I always tell people I have no marvel in me because they're like, well, you're different. No,
Yeah.
I'm just a regular girl. I got my ass kicked, but I chose to keep going, as wimpy as it was sometimes. Have you been bitten by a radioactive spider? I have to know.
No, not that I know of. And like, yeah, someone did actually say to me the other day, because me and my husband actually have been going for some runs together because we did high reps together. And someone said, you guys are just different. I said, well, no, we're not different. We just choose to, act like this. And I think that what I love to tell people, and you would like, is that, yes, okay, if you get chemo now and you're not at your fittest and healthiest, okay, it's going to be hard. It doesn't mean you can't exercise during chemotherapy or during a treatment. It's going to totally help you. But stop exercising to look a certain way, to be skinny, to like conform to societal, things. And I hope and pray that no one like in listening does get cancer or you do, but be ready in case. Yeah, like be ready in case a shitstorm hits. Because then when it hits, if you are in the best form of your life, the shape, healthiest of your life, then you will crush it. Like the reason we crushed it was because we went in strong,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't tell you how many leg lifts I did in bed on sick days. I traveled the country during my treatment. I still worked. I announced races and spoke and stuff. But when I'd come home off those flights, I was beaten up and I would just lie in bed and I would watch terrible television and I would do bridges and I would stretch in the shower. I mean, it was pathetic. I looked pathetic. I felt pathetic, but there were things that I could do. I couldn't be the old Fitz Kohler. I just couldn't go do all the wonderful big deal things, but I could do little things and little things added up.
Totally. Yeah. I remember my husband coming down one morning to go to the gym and I was in the lounge room. I literally was doing one squat every 10 to 20 seconds.
Wow.
I had my gloves on because it was middle of winter and I had the worst cold sensitivity from chemotherapy. I was rugged up and he would literally went, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh,
And I was like, I'm just moving. Like, I'm just, he's like, really? I'm like, yes, I know it looks pathetic to you. And this is the old Danni would be like, what the fuck? But
right.
it helped, right? Like, literally, it helped. Yeah.
Yeah. Something is better than nothing. So some people, I definitely meet people who say, oh, I'm so grateful I had cancer because it made me better and this or that. I'm not in that camp. If I could go back and undo the cancer card, I would undo it. What about you? What are your feelings on that?
I have this thing in life is that everything happens for a reason. It's there to teach you something or remind you of a purpose. And I suppose I was a bit pissed off when I first got diagnosed with cancer because, as I said to you, I've had a few rough years with different things going on. Hi, my kids. Yeah, and every time something has happened over the last few years, I kind of gone, really? Like, I don't need anything else to show me gratitude. Like, I'm a very grateful person already. I feel like I'm a very good person already. I don't need anything else to teach me this gratitude. So I feel like the key thing for me, it reiterated my message. And it also, I don't know, it built me a different type of resilience, but I don't wish it upon anybody.
Yeah.
Like, oh, now I feel like I'm going to cry. That's weird. As you would know, the post-cancer, the survivorship is actually really hard as well.
Right.
Every day you're worried, like, is something going to come back? Like, is it going to come back? You do all this stuff and sometimes maybe it's not enough, I don't know. So I'm not grateful I got cancer, but I'm grateful for the lessons I learned and the people I've been able to reach. Fitz, one thing that makes me really emotional that I love is the amount of women and men that I've reached that now go and get a colonoscopy, that have changed their lifestyles, the lives I've saved. Like, people have gone and been like, Danni, I got a colonoscopy and I had these massive polyps. And if you hadn't talked about your story, I wouldn't have gone. There has been a few girls that come back and have got cancer, but they wouldn't have gone to get a colonoscopy unless they'd seen my story. And their staging is now early. So I feel grateful that I've managed to help a lot of people and save some lives and some families.
Yeah, yes, I commend you for that. And I feel the same. I ended up writing 3 books, the Healthy Cancer Comeback series. And it's interesting. I'm my whole mission here on earth, besides my kids, is to help people live better and longer. And so with these books I do, it's an interesting position I've put myself in, because it's like every day someone reaches out to me and says, I need to buy your books. My dad was diagnosed with brain cancer, or my daughter has ovarian cancer, or whatever. And so I'm constantly bombarded with these wonderful people and their bad news. And so I love the fact that every time I ship out books, it helps people, and they do respond similarly. I've got through it better and so forth, but it's like this, oh, you can have your heart broken a million times having all of these friends with cancer because you've chosen to speak out
Yeah.
about it, right?
Yeah. And it was something I discussed with my surgeon, because I did ask for an early colonoscopy a few weeks ago because I had some symptoms and it was freaking me out. And he said, look, I'm going to give you the colonoscopy just to clear your head, but I want to tell you one thing. He's like, if you are putting yourself in a position where you're going to be bombarded with all these beautiful people and their stories, you have to learn to disconnect. You have to learn to realize they're not your stories. They're just stories. And you have to learn to disconnect. Otherwise, the stress is going to make your cancer return faster than anything, because it's very easy to hear a story and then go, shit, is that going to be me? Or let it impact your mental health. And again, like we were talking about before, like, I can't let my mental health be impacted by someone else that then affects my kids and my family. Like, that's not okay. If I'm emotional, sad, scatty, stressed because of someone I don't know story, that's not
Right.
a priority, right? So he's like, you have to learn to disconnect and just listen to them. Obviously, like, empathize, which you are anyway, but then disconnect from it.
I love it. Man, you have your shit together. You are a smart cookie. So let's spend a few minutes specifically on colon cancer, early detection, and so forth, because it's one of those diseases that you actually can prevent the disease. If they find the polyps before they turn cancerous, they remove it. You're clear for X amount. And I know I have quite a few friends who are survivors of colon cancer. My friend Phil Decker, we met after running the Boston Marathon. And then a few months later, he reached out. He goes, hey, when you had your colonoscopy, did the doctor tell you to meet with an oncologist? And I was like, no. He goes, is that normal? And I didn't want to scare him. So I said, I don't know. But anyways, my thoughts on colonoscopy is, I was like, nobody wants to have them, but I don't think they were that terrible. I didn't think the prep was that bad. I mean, nobody likes diarrhea, but it's limited. And then you get on with your life and it doesn't hurt. And then you get to go have a big lunch. So make the plea, tell everybody why they should get their colonoscopy.
Oh my God. So the thing is, I suppose, about colon cancer, like you said, it starts as a polyp and it grows. And if you can get them early, then you can literally wipe them out. And then, you have to have follow-up colonoscopies. But again, like you said, short-term pain for like long-term gain, right? Like, yes, the prep drinks. I mean, you look ultra skinny for like
That's right. Do it before your big event.
Totally. But no, everyone, like, there is, I don't know what it's like in the States, but you can do stool sample tests here. It's free for anyone over 45, which is absolutely ridiculous because It's actually the biggest killer in Australia now from 25 to 45. So having a school test at 45 is fucking useless. So if you are 25, go and get it. But unfortunately, the stool test isn't necessarily going to show up everything. It's not going to show up polyps. So I just think everyone, I think, should be entitled to a colonoscopy from the age of 25. If I'm honest, if I'd gone and had a colonoscopy at 25, I probably would have had a polyp. And so definitely, yes, the prep's not ideal. It tastes disgusting. You have to poo yourself for, a good few hours and then it's done, and like you said, you got to have a big lunch afterwards. You get to have a nap while they do it. And
That's right. Okay, so tell me what your go-to lunch after colonoscopy is.
well, annoyingly, because you're so freaking hungry after you wake up, they give you those shitty sandwiches. But like the funny thing is actually when I woke up, they gave me a ham and cheese sandwich. Like I'm not eating ham. Like what the fuck are you like, why are you giving me ham? I'm confused by this.
That's weird choice.
So weird. So there was an egg sandwich. I do eggs, so there's like an egg. So I had the egg sandwich. But I love sourdough. I make my own sourdough as well. So
Impressive.
I think I got home and had like a sourdough, avocado, some flax seeds, pepitas. Yum, like on toast.
Nice.
That's what I had
Nice.
last time. Yeah.
Oh, well, I've only had one, but I went straight for baked potato and mac and cheese, and it was the perfect combination. Now, are you also a vegetarian?
No, I'm not. No, I eat
You're
meat.
not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, just not ham.
No ham, no processed meats. No
Mhm.
processed meat. I mean, processed meats are, we know, like class 1 carcinogens. So,
Yeah.
same category as cigarettes and are contributing to colon cancer. So,
Yeah. So let's say that loudly, folks. Processed meats are is it stage?
class
I
1.
think it's like stage 1 carcinogen.
Carcinogen.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. I've never.
yeah.
So my kids have never eaten any processed meat ever,
Mm,
nor have they
mm,
eaten beef. But
mm.
it's just like I don't want to teach them habits that will cause cancer one day. So the
Get it.
bacon, the sausage, whatever kind of processed meats you're eating, folks, you should stop eating. I'm not telling you you shouldn't eat any meat, but those are meats that are actually could be lethal. So,
Totally. I find it bizarre as well. So, it's in the same category as cigarettes, asbestos, right?
I
But we
bet
wouldn't give
asbestos. That's right.
yeah, but you're not gonna go give your kid a cigarette, right? Like, you wouldn't even say
Or
to your
asbestos.
well, asbestos, but you're happy to give your kid, like, bacon and ham sandwiches every week? Like, I get really confused by this, but, like, when I put this stuff on my socials, gosh, the people that come in, they go, "Let the kids live." Okay, cool, go get your kid a cigarette. Like, no, you're not gonna do it.
Right.
So no processed. We eat red meat probably like beef maybe once every 7 to 10 days, but I make sure
Okay.
it's really good quality from, like, a good butcher, from, like, a nice farm, like, free range, organic.
Right.
But, yeah, then otherwise we eat a lot of fish, and some chicken as well. Yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah.
lots of plants, lots of veggies, lots of plants. My kids love veggies. There's always a ton of veggies on their plate, lots of good grains. Yeah.
So tell me, what is something that all your fitness fans would be surprised to know about you? That you consume blank.
I do love a glass of champagne.
Okay.
Do you like a glass of champagne? So I probably have a glass of wine, maybe like a really good wine or a really good champagne, like once a week. Like might have like maybe 1 or 2 a week, sometimes none, depending on what's going on. But yes, I do. And yes, a carcinogen as well. But I always say you got to choose where you spend your stuff. And I think when you are consuming something like alcohol, for example, if it's done in a space that's surrounded by nourishment, so I eat 95%. 97% whole foods, like
Yeah.
when you have that small, it's my small vice, like my tiny thing I have that I really enjoy. So when it's surrounded by good conversation and laughter and good food, I think, that one glass, and when I say one glass, I usually measure it to 100 mils, which I know sounds really pedantic, but it's my 100 mils. And my
Okay.
husband doesn't drink at all, so sometimes I don't even have any because I'm not gonna open a bottle for 100 mils. But yeah, some people are like, "I don't understand how you can drink and not have anything else." Well, that's my one little thing I choose. And I always say you get to choose where you spend that small percentage of occasional, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. My wild vice is some Diet Coke, some decaffeinated Diet Coke, and I just love it. And it's fine. It's fine. When everything else I eat came from the produce department, get a grip. A little Diet Coke is just fine. And chocolate. Are you a chocolate? What's your
I
sweet?
do, I do. My chocolate is my thing, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, 1 row of chocolate, yeah, with a cup of green tea at night. It's my thing.
Okay. So tell me, what is the weirdest experience you had not versus, but during cancer? So, and to give you an example, like people always compared me to various bald celebrities. I never wore a wig. So they're like, you look like crazy Britney Spears or whatever. I had all sorts of interesting feedback coming my way. What was your weird stuff?
My weird stuff. So I used to get, I don't know, when the cold sensitivity with the chemo, the oxaliplatin, which is my infusion drug, would make me like have these stroke-like symptoms. So like my eyes would get stuck. Yeah.
What?
Like, yeah. I'd get like my
I've
eyes
never
would
heard
get
that.
stuck, or my lips would get stuck. So I couldn't like, yeah, like, or I get these like crocodile hands. So like I'd try and do something and then I'd get stuck. And so I called them my crocodile hands because I couldn't move. But yeah, we'd like say we'd go out to the car to get in the car and the wind would hit my face. And then Chris would look at me and be like, oh my God. Because like my eyes would be like this and my face would be like this. So yeah, that was probably the weirdest thing.
That's pretty tragic.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you had one surgery or multiple surgeries?
So I had one surgery. Yeah. Yeah.
One surgery. And it was effective, like it took,
Yeah.
and what was the recovery like?
Yeah, so they did. So it was robotic surgery, and so they've got 3 incisions on my left-hand side from the robot, so just little ones. But then they also went through my C-section scar because I birthed my twins in 2 different ways. I birthed one vaginally and one was emergency. Yeah,
You've had a wild life.
I, I remember being on the ward after them actually, and people being like, "Oh yeah, I had a cesarean." I'm like, "Yeah, cool. I had both just now." So, like one came out one way, one came out. So he went through there. And so again, they said to me like, no exercise for 6 weeks post-surgery. And I was like, yeah, I never listened to that. So thanks for letting me know. So I actually also discharged myself from the hospital because I didn't want to eat the food. I was only on a liquid diet anyway, but they were giving me like, sweet orange juice, like sugar-filled orange juice. And I was like, I need to get out of here. So I actually discharged myself early and actually ran a retreat 7 days post-surgery because I'd already had it locked in. I had all my clients coming to my retreat. So I went and ran a retreat 7 days and was just walking. And then 2 weeks postpartum, 2 weeks post-surgery, I went for a run. And then went and to the gym 4 weeks post. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Do you feel like you've recovered fully? Do you feel like you're back to being who you were before all of this?
Not quite. Yeah, not quite. The longest run I've done since getting diagnosed with 10Ks, which I did last week. So just building up that endurance again. So I'd love to go on it. Like Chris and I had entered into the Gold Coast Marathon in July, so we'll start training for that soon.
Great.
But getting my strength, like I can't, like I used to be able to do 15 pull-ups. I can't do that yet. Things like that. So getting there. And also it's just also getting used to my new tummy. Like I've got, half a bowel's getting, moved. And my bowel and like motions are probably back to normal now. But my scars and the way my tummy looks at the moment is like you have to remember I still had just had a baby, right? As well. So it's like my body hardly really recovered from having a baby before I got chopped into again for this surgery. So I'm kind of I said I gave myself like a reset from surgery. That would be like my 12 months postpartum from then in my head to then. So yeah.
So let me ask you, you look down, you see scars. Are they significant? Do they bother you?
My 3 on my left don't bother me. The one where my C-section does. It's almost like I even said to the fucker, right? I was like, dude, when you're going back in there, can you tidy it up a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know if you've had a C-section, but I had this little tiny lip, like a tiny little thing. Yeah, so like had it, and I said, look, when you're going in there, when you stitch it back up, just get rid of that scar tissue, make it look nice,
Yeah.
Well, he's made it worse, right? So
No.
I have this lip and I'm pretty lean. Like I'm probably not the leanest I could be, but I don't really want to be any leaner. And I don't even think that's going to help. So when I wear like lighter colored shorts, you can see this like shelf there and I don't like it. Really, it does bother me. And it doesn't bother me. I don't care what anyone else thinks. It just bothers me,
Right. You think you'll have it fixed eventually?
Maybe. I think once I have a little extra cash, I had said to my husband, I'd like to go and get that sorted. Just for me, like I don't like it. Yeah.
Well, you think about how many women redo their boobs, right? Like I'm in the land of boob reconstruction. I was very fortunate. I only had a lumpectomy, so I didn't need to do any of that. But what's the difference? You had cancer, you had scars, you have your body altered from the surgeries. Why wouldn't you want to address it if you could afford it?
Totally. And it's like my body's strong. Like, I've got my, my 6-pack's coming back and like it's sort of like really muscle, you know what I mean? Like I'm strong. It's just this superficial thing that I don't like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for someone like you who works so hard to have a body that is so strong and lean, if there's something that you can't control, then I think it's totally fair. I mean, whatever people want to do is fair, but
Well,
why not?
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to pure fitness because I love where you just went there. I freaking love being lean. I love being strong. I love having muscles. They make me
Yeah.
so proud. I'm not doing it so anybody else looks at me and is like, "Whoa!" But I feel
Yeah.
freaking great. And I was emaciated, and so now my muscles that came back, I feel really just giddy about it all. You're 40-ish. You're a full blown grown up. Where half the well, forget half. 90% of the people in our age bracket, they're going, well, I can't. I'm a grown up. I can't have ripped abs and I can't have this. Go off on those people. Tell me how and why you love it.
I love being, I always say, like, having my abs, like, I don't love my abs because I look skinny or I love my abs because it's like, it reminds me of the hard work I put in. Like, it's a byproduct of doing all the things, right?
Yeah.
And so people always go, I could never, like, you talk to clients and they go, cool, what are your goals? Like, I'm talking, say a 100-kilogram woman, you use pounds. I don't know what those pounds, 220 pounds. And she's like, my goal weight's 70 kilos. I'm like, why? Like, what do you want? She's like, I love abs like you, Danni, but that's just not possible for me. Well, it's not possible for me because you're telling yourself it's not possible for you.
Right.
And you're just, like, first of all, you're going to believe it. You tell yourself something's not possible, it's not going to happen. So start telling yourself it's possible and then put in the fucking hard work. Like, keep going. Yeah. Like, sure, 70 kilos is a great first goal. Absolutely. But what's the ultimate goal? Like, write it down. What do you want to do? What do you want to be like? And keep going. And then every time you find yourself with an excuse, fuck that, like fuck it off. Like, be like, no, okay, I can't. Like, as I said, Chris and I have been going for these stupid nighttime runs. Like, who likes to run at night? No one. And it's hard. And we both are like, this is hard. We don't want to do it, but we do it anyway.
Yeah.
It's like that saying, like, I didn't feel like working out, but I worked out anyway. So
right.
Just do it.
My brand new book, You Supercharge, the exact formula for fitness, weight loss, and longevity, is out right now and has something for everybody. Ladies, chapter Full Throttle Femininity is dedicated to all the things you think you can't control, including menopause, weight loss, maintaining muscle mass, building bone density, and earning yourself a vajayjay of steel. Guys, chapter Man Mode was written just for you. You'll learn how to combat menopause, tune up your ticker, banish a beer belly for good, maximize your muscles, and earn the most powerful pecker on the planet. From the ground on up, from the inside and out, let's supercharge your body and mind and make you unstoppable. Order signed copies of You Supercharged at fitzness.com in the United States, Amazon, everywhere else.
But like, I love feeling strong. I love feeling confident in my body. And also, like, my husband loves it, like.
Yeah, I bet.
He likes it. And like, not everything's for everyone. Like, if you don't want abs or you don't want to be that lean, that's fine. Like, some women love more curves and that's beautiful. But what I'm saying is whatever you want to be like is possible for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally attainable. It's interesting. I have a pretty large community, thousands of people who follow my fitzness stuff. And there's some folks who say they want certain things, yet they never go all the way. They have the same information everybody else does. I teach the exact formula for weight loss. It's just eating the right amount of the right food for the size you want to be. I teach all the workouts. And if they do what I tell them to do, they'll all achieve their ultimate dream goal, dream body, all the things. But some just say, I am going to do it, but I'm going to do it part way. And then they stay there. And I never attach a goal to anybody. I never look at them and think like, man, if I could take off 40 pounds and do this. But then sometimes a person in that middle category that's just kind of settling for maybe mediocrity, the switch flips.
Yeah.
And then they drop all the weight. And now I have got a few guys in my online Facebook training group. It's called the Hottie Body Fitzness Challenge. And they are on the verge of looking like they belong on Men's Health magazine, right? They're a few steps away. They've cut the weight. It's, getting them to crank up the strength training, but it's possible for everybody. I mean, I could see pretty much everybody on the cover of these fitness magazines. You just have to put in the work.
Totally. And I think I definitely have had a couple of women get to a point where, kind of like what you said, it's a flick switch. Like, women that have dropped the weight, they've now realized what's possible. They've realized they can do it. They're feeling strong. And then they come to me and I go, cool, what's the next goal? What are we going for? And they go, I think I want abs. Like, I think I want to see my abs. I'm like, yeah, let's do that, And it's not about cutting out all your food or restricting carbs or doing anything like that. Like, you can still have your chocolate, you can still have your Diet Coke or your glass of wine, like whatever.
Mhm.
But this is what it's going to look like. But you can do that. I think people think, oh, to look like, say, me or you, oh, she doesn't eat carbs and she doesn't have fun and, she's at the gym 24/7. I'm like, no,
Not
like,
true.
not true. Yeah.
No, I love it. Okay, so what am I missing? What else did you want to chat about, Danny?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just so happy to be here. I'm happy to it's so nice to reach another audience as well. Like, I'm so excited for you guys, my Australian people to see you and me to see some American people. I've got lots of American followers already, but I suppose I really, unlike you, and my messaging, I really want to get out there that we just need to focus on eating and moving for our longevity. I know it can be really hard to see that, but I don't think people realize how happier they'll be initially as well if they start moving their bodies more and eating better. Within a week, you'll feel better. Within a week, within 2 weeks, your friends will start to notice that you feel better. Within 4 weeks, you'll start to look better. And and then if you could see future you, and like I said before, I want you to go into, people to go into feeling strong just in case shit hits the fan, in case you get diagnosed with cancer, or
Right.
like you said, ALS or whatever it is. Be the fittest and strongest. Also show your kiddies what that lifestyle looks like, So
Yeah, it's phenomenal how many people say, "Well, I can't be fit because I have kids." And I think, you sons of bitches, you have
Mm,
to be fit because you
mm,
have kids. They're not your excuse. They're your incentive. They're the reason you put them on the earth. It's your obligation to stick around as
totally.
long as possible, to love them and guide them and support them.
Yeah.
So freaking get up and get moving and show them how. How many people say, "Well, I'm overweight because my parents are overweight." No, you're not genetically overweight. You adopted their
Yeah,
crap habits and you follow
totally.
suit. And now you're all overweight because you all do the same stupid thing, right? So
Totally, yeah. But
change
also,
the
I
behavior.
love that you just said that. I think it's really easy to blame our parents for things and then go, "Oh, I'm like this because of this." Well, you have a choice in life to change. Just because your parents did something or they taught you something in some way doesn't mean you can't change that and change the future for that and change the narrative. Like you just said, you didn't inherit fatness, you just inherited bad habits, you
Yeah.
know, which you can change. And I think, yeah, I don't know. I always say, I get so much hate for this, but when you had a child, you actually signed an agreement, a responsibility to keep that child alive in the healthiest possible status and yourself. So feeding them ham, not showing them how to exercise, letting them dictate, not being that strict parent around exercise and movement and nourishment is actually you're failing at your contract. You have a responsibility because I would hate for my kids to get to my age and then get cancer and then know I didn't do everything in my power
Right.
when I had. I would be upset about that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And when I speak, sometimes I'll ask people, is there anyone here who wants to outlive their children?
Mm,
Quite often if I'm speaking to a parent group and they're like, no, I'm like, okay, are you teaching them habits that will
mm,
ensure their longevity? Because you're supposed to die first. If you raise kids who become diabetics or children who earn lifestyle cancers or have heart disease, that's on you. And you have to suffer through the living
yeah.
hell that goes along with your child dropping dead at 40 because you didn't teach them how to live a
Yeah.
long life. I mean, you and I, we could go out there and cause a bunch of we could
Yes.
go piss a bunch of people off. But you know what? Here's the thing. They would hear that and they would think we were assholes, but then they would go home and they would go, you know what? Those bitches were right. We should do
Totally.
better.
For
Right?
sure. Yeah. I did put a TikTok up 2 days ago. I do a lot of series. I turn the label over, looking at the ingredients in food.
Okay.
And I did one on icy poles and some of the.
What
I
is
don't know
an
if you have
icy pole?
an ice block, like a frozen,
Popsicle?
yeah, like a popsicle. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
gotcha.
We should do a series on things that you say that I say.
Yes, for sure.
Like a popsicle. And so I did this series, and we have ones called Super Dupers here, and it's just shit, right? It's like preservatives, additives, emulsifiers, colors. It's nothing. It's shit. And then we have other ones here. It's called Juicies, which is just fruit juice, right?
Okay.
And so I'm like, here's a better option. The amount of people coming at me, being like, "Oh, you're the fun police. Just let the kid have a Super Duper. Why do you even care if it's just once a week?" And I'm like, do you not understand the impact you're having on your children? And if you're giving a kid a Super Duper once a week, that's not the only shit thing they're having, right? Let's be
Right.
honest.
Right.
You know, so but yeah, they're coming at me. Actually, I just saw a comment just before I jumped on, and she was like, "The comment section is so bizarre. Why would you want to feed your kids shit?" It's like it doesn't make sense. Like they're
And
your
then
kids.
defend it as if
Like,
it's good parenting.
yeah, like
Now,
we're letting them have fun. Okay.
so my kids, when they were little, I didn't give them donuts. And so they could have birthday cake, but they could not have birthday cake dumped in oil. That's what donuts is. It's cake fried. And I was like, that's a step too far. We're not going to a fried cake wrapped in sugar. And so, and I didn't give them, Burger King or McDonald's or stuff like that. And I did have some people like, oh, they deserve fun. I was like, you know what? My kids have a bounce house in the dining room. We don't have a dining room table. We have an inflatable bounce house in there. They come home and they bounce. I think that's more fun than eating
Totally.
donuts. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. I think people like, why are we putting fun down to sugar-filled fried shit? I'm confused by this. Like,
Yes.
my kids, like, it's like my kids aren't sitting here crying in the corner because they didn't have a donut or, or a McDonald's. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, like yesterday, they're like, "Oh, can we have one of your muffins, Mum?" Like, they love my muffins. Like you said, like we're running around outside. That's fun. We're at the park. That's fun. We're laughing and giggling. Like we're having fun. Don't you worry about our fun. It's okay.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Also, the adults who think, okay, we're going to go out and have a fun night. And the first thing they do is go eat and drink. And eating is important and drinking on occasion. But if you're going to have fun, go have actual fun. Go sing, go dance, go play, go
Yeah.
be active. Play, even if you're just going to play board games, whatever, just have actual fun because the rice you're eating right now, that doesn't qualify as fun.
No. And like being hungover, that's not fun. I don't
No,
That's not fun.
no,
No. Or getting
no.
to bed part. That's not fun.
Note this, that I'm very restrained when it comes to alcohol. When I was in college, I was a full-blown idiot, and I drank way too much, and I learned some hard lessons, and I decided I'm gonna be that girl. On New Year's, I went out with my childhood best friend, and I end up very hungover the next day. I'm not sure what happened, but you know what? Once in a while, you gotta get it done, right?
I don't know how you felt about it. I mean, you maybe haven't really had a really good night because it's your best friend, but like I've done that like not last year because I had cancer and everything, but like I think it was
Right.
maybe the year before that. I had too much. I think it was my best friend's 40th actually a couple of years ago, and like yes, I had fun of the night, but I intentionally always go for a run if I do drink. I will always go for a run the next day. It does two things for me. It gives me a kick up the ass. It usually
Yep.
makes me stop thinking. But I remember being like, I just don't like this. I don't like feeling like this. I had to parent like 3 children at that time, and I was like, no, I can't do this. It's not okay. So
Yeah, I went straight to must eat vegetables or fruit exclusively for like 3 days. I mean, I still haven't switched from that. It's been all veggies, all fruit since that day. My poor body is like, why did you put all that poison in me? And it sure is. It's actual poison. But
mm,
again, it was worth it. It was a fun time.
yeah.
Once in a
And
while.
every now and then, that's the thing. Once in a while, it's like that one hot day doesn't make a summer. It's that one-off thing isn't going to harm you. And that's the other thing. Like, if you love ham, have ham at Christmas or Thanksgiving. Have it then, enjoy it, and then like move on. Like that's
Yeah.
one time's not going to do you, especially if your rest of your diet's like 95% whole foods. Yeah.
Yeah. Wiggle room. Wiggle room. Okay. So gosh, I could talk to you forever and ever and ever. I'm so
We could
happy you came on. Huh?
we have so much to talk about, so many different angles.
So I end my show with 3 things. So first is a communication tip. And with that, for example, I try to get people to stop saying like every other word.
Mm.
I like fitness, like blah, 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 blah. So what would be a communication tip since you're a great communicator for our audience
Yeah.
today?
We actually just spoke about this on my coaching last night. So you're not allowed to use the word try. You can't say try. Like, I'm going to try and go to the gym. No, you're not. Like, it's non-committal. It gives you an out. It gives you an excuse. So when you don't do it, you go, well, I tried. No,
No, you didn't.
no try. No, you didn't. So you do it. So you be Yoda. You do or do not, right? There is no try. So I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to do this. That's the first one. The other one is, you got to tell yourself you are someone like, I am someone who runs. I am someone who chooses whole foods. I am someone that doesn't drink alcohol. I am someone that chooses the path of most resistance. I am someone that does hard things. Like, yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
That's great. And that's very fresh. It's it's a commitment to yourself.
Yes, 100%.
A
Yeah.
commitment. Okay. And then the next thing is our song of the show. So what song do you want people to put on their playlist? And what workout do you want them to do to that particular song?
So like my song is Simply the Best by Tina Turner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great choice.
It's like, I don't know, like just it gets me pumped up. It's my song when I'm going through hard shit. I put it on and I remind myself I'm fucking amazing. And I love to run to that song. So it's like my running song. It's like the song that I run to.
So
Yeah.
back up because I love this. Instead of you singing "You're Simply the Best" to someone else, she's singing it to you because you're the best.
Totally. Yeah.
That's a way better way to use that song. Okay, and then before we get to our last assignment, where can people find you, Danni?
Sure. So I hang out on Instagram a lot. I show up in my stories really honestly and raw. So Danni.Duncan __. That's where I am. I've got my app, Fit by Danni Duncan, and then I've also got my podcast, Life with Danni Duncan. But you can find all of that information on my Instagram, and then my website's danniduncan.com.au. So really simple.
Okay. And I will put that all in the show notes. So folks, if you want to just click on the description of the Fitzness Show, you will find it there. And then our very last assignment of the day is you have to look at the camera and with gusto tell everybody to get to work.
Get to work.
I love you. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
You see ya.
Hi, this is Rudy Novotny, the voice of America's Marathons. We all love how much running has benefited every aspect of our lives, so much so that most of us only wish we'd started sooner. Wouldn't it be wonderful to gift the opportunity to children of today? Well, you can. The Morning Mile is a before-school walking and running program that gives children a chance to start each day in an active way while enjoying fun, music, and friends. That's every child, every day. It's also supported by a wonderful system of rewards, which keeps students highly motivated and frequently congratulated. Created by our favorite fitness expert, Fitz Kohler, Morning Milers across the country have run over 2 million miles and are having greater success with academics, behavior, and sports because of it. The Morning Mile is free to the child, free to the school, and is inexpensively funded by businesses or generous individuals. Help more kids get moving in the morning by visiting morningmile.com. Champion the program at your favorite school or find out more about sponsorship opportunities. That's morningmile.com. Long may you run.